Hey, what's up? It's Kit time for another video. Today, we're going to be talking about this rig right here. I mean, I've rigged so many, and over the years, things have changed for me. I was a huge advocate for flash, even in very deep water. I still love flash and, glow in the dark stuff and all that. I still love them, okay? But I restrict it to depth. So when I'm fishing more than 100 meters, there's nothing on there. There is absolutely nothing on there, and I make it a habit. Now, if I'm fishing shallower water, 100 meters and below, then actually put the flash. Now, in all practicality, okay, when you're dropping down to about 300 meters, there's absolutely zero light down there. So as far as flash is concerned, okay, just those flashy things and even UV and all that might not be practical. Now, if you're using glow in the dark, I mean, there are guys that do with the lure, or sabiki lure type assist hooks. That's all and good. I mean, I've done that. Probably I was the guy who did that first. I think around 2014, 2013, I was doing that already because I was tying flies. So it was kind of natural for me to actually just put it there. But I think there's a post on my Instagram of a very early example of that. In fact, I proposed it to Rapala at one point. Obviously, they didn't take it. But yeah, that was something that was being kicked around. Really. Like, I'm not saying that I invented it, but what I'm saying is I've been playing around with it as early as that time. So I've had a lot of time with it, possibly longer than quite a lot of people out there. So now I'm actually bringing to you this video of kind of like what the realization is after a long time. Now, take it with a grain of salt. It's up to you if you want to use the information or not, but here it goes. All right. So for slow jigging in particular, okay, there's quite a few things that you need to realize before we even start talking about what happens. Okay. Now, it all starts with fast jigging, because I know a lot of people would be saying like, hey, I use squids on my jigs and all that. Now, here's your typical shape of a fast jig. Now, what happens is that you have your hook there, okay, your assist hook, just like that, okay, and then you'll have your squid, okay. The difference between this and slow jigging is that you're always pumping this up, okay. You're not giving it slack. You might be pumping it slow, you might be pumping it fast, but either way, this given slack is not as long a duration as you do for slow jigs. Okay. In fact, you can actually give this a long pump and then drop it down, but the origin of your rod, let's say it's from here, you go up, okay, you're probably going to have to reel it in at the halfway point. Okay, so long fall and then jig it up again and then long fall, but not necessarily like the long fall that you have with slow jigs, where you go up high and then you just drop it down, and sometimes you even free spool it so it goes down even deeper before you start retrieving it again. So very different dynamic when it comes to these things. But the fact is, majority of the time, what happens is that your assist hook with your squid jig or whatever, or squid skirt, forces are affecting it, and it's always getting pinned on the body, or near the body. And guess what? When it's there, when it's in position, when the fish bites, the hook is there. Okay, so you have your jig, you have your squid, like that. Okay, and it's always in position. You're jigging it, you're jigging it, you're jigging it up. Okay, and the fish bites. Look at where the hooks are. Okay, now for slow jigs, kind of a different story. So when this is fluttering, which is really majority of the time, what happens is that the hooks are in that position. Okay, so as you can see, it's not anywhere near the body, and it flutters like that. So when the fish grabs it, it's fluttering down. When the fish grabs it, your hooks are here. Now, when you pull this up, like so, this goes back in position like this. And when you give it slack and it slides down, what happens is that the hooks are here and it slides down. Your line is here. Okay? So the hooks position themselves there. And when the fish grabs that, boom. And then, as it struggles, this hook set actually finds the fish, the face of the fish, or wherever it's gonna snack. Okay, that's the nature of slow jigging, and that's that. By the way, I didn't show this the last time, so as you can see, it doesn't tangle. Anyway, so those are things that you need to realize when you're making these. And the size of the cord, the size of the wire, okay, they all matter because that creates drag. And this is what basically pushes it up or down. Now, supposing you have something here. You have all the fancy stuff, okay? That is more drag than this, that's naked. So what happens is that majority of the time, these are going to be away. The thicker the wire and the thicker the cord, the more drag it creates. So the drag isn't only for your leader, okay? It's also for the components, the componentry that you have, okay? But the forces that are exerted or that affect the assist hooks is ultimately what makes you hook or not hook a fish. Because if it's moving this way and your hooks are buoyant, they're more buoyant, and they're there, okay? Not there. You're not gonna hook the fish. And that's a problem. Now, there are arguments where, it's added attraction and that it's also a hotspot for fish to home into. I get that argument because that was my argument. But see, the thing is, you have to realize that whatever surface area you have here on all these, even if you put 4 of them, would never compare to that. It will have, the body of the jig will have more vibration, and it will have more glow if you're using jigs that have glowing paint. So if you have these, that's actually kind of sometimes, I would say, counterproductive to what you're trying to do. Because what you want to do is attract the fish here and hook it with your hooks being there in position. That's all it is. You have to ask yourself a question. If you're taking the risk of having your hooks flop around away from the main attractor, it's not called a lure for nothing. Okay? Or if you want your hooks to be where they're supposed to be so that when the fish strikes, you hook it. Food for thought. All right? I'm not going to tell you that, oh, this is better. Like, this is basically what I have learned. Okay? And it's really up to you if you want to use this information or not. You could call it BS. You know, you could go on your own journey and you know, make your own video. But guess what? This is what I have discovered after, well, not discovered, but realized that, you know, there were others before me that actually told me about this, and I just had to find out for myself. Now, granted that there's a lot more strikes when you have like frilly stuff there, especially for the smaller ones, and sometimes, yeah, you need those strikes. But again, when it matters, that's it. It's not only that it's simple. It's a very simplistic approach to this, and it's not only that, you know, this is easier to tie or whatnot, because I can tie those. The problem is, I know that they're not as good as a lot of people think. There's purposes to those things. Of course, you could use them for some other stuff. For shallower water, of course, I still use them, and I believe that they make a difference because in shallower water, there's light. And if there's light, then you can reflect light. And if it's a little bit deeper, then those little glow-in-the-dark things, UV even, you know, especially, they work. They really work. Okay? Muddy conditions, they work. I use them, you know. But for deep water, this is what I'm going with. Alrighty. Anyway, so if you have questions or if you want to discuss more on this, comment section below, please, because I really like hearing your thoughts. Alrighty. And this is also a question that's been kind of being asked a lot. So I just want to have a video that I could refer people to as far as my thoughts are concerned. Alrighty. You could disagree. That's fine. You're probably a better fisherman, and my hat's off to you. Alrighty. That's it for this video. If you learned something or if you found this interesting, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet and you want to learn more, click on that subscribe button. Obviously, if you want your friends to learn with you, click on the share. If you don't want them to learn, then don't share. But don't gatekeep, guys. Okay, so I did this channel. I made this channel so that I'd be able to share info with people. Alrighty? And of course, if you want to support this channel, click on the join button. And that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.